heavily redacted Department of Defense Inspector General report was just released, and hidden inside those black bars might be the answer to a question that has been swirling around UAP disclosure for years. Did the government retaliate against one of its own for speaking out about UFOs? As always, I'm here to report the information without bias, and you can decide what to believe. You can find the sources in my detailed articles at ufonews.co, along with in the description box below. Hey ufologists, I'm Cristina Gomez, and welcome to this episode of Daily UFO News Updates. A newly released DoD Inspector General report reveals what may be the conclusion of a UAP whistleblower reprisal investigation. The report doesn't name the person involved, but the timeline and subject matter overlap heavily with publicly documented filings associated with former intelligence official David Grusch. You may have remembered back in July of 2023, David Grusch testified before Congress that he had knowledge of active planned reprisal activity against himself and other colleagues. He described what was happening to whistleblowers as very unsettling. Now, years later, the DoD Inspector General has released its final report on a UAP-related whistleblower reprisal case. The Black Vault obtained these documents through a FOIA request filed back in April of 2025, and it reveals an investigation that was closed back in February of 2025. Here is what we need to know. The complaint alleged that officials revoked the whistleblower's eligibility for access to classified information. The complaint also alleged they refused to grant access to compartmented programs. According to those documents, this was done in reprisal for reporting UAP-related matters to the DoD Office of the Inspector General. The report confirms that the complainant made 4 protected disclosures. One of those was directly to the DoD Inspector General. The key dates in this case are very important. On August 29, 2022, the complainant received notice that their security clearance had been revoked. They were removed from classified settings, had to turn in their access badge, and were placed on paid administrative leave. On December of 2022, the final revocation letter was signed. So what did the Inspector General conclude? The report states that the protected disclosures were not a contributing factor in the decision to revoke the complainant's security clearance. According to the findings, clear and convincing evidence established that the same action would have been taken regardless of the whistleblower activity. Well, is that true? Well, you can decide on your own. The report points to a pattern of misconduct as the basis of the revocation, separate from any UAP-related disclosures. But here's where it gets really interesting, so stay with me. During his congressional testimony, Grusch described what he called administrative terrorism. He said it was a tool in the toolbox to silence people, especially career government servants who care about their clearance and their reputation. The newly released documents show internal messages from personnel involved in this case. These communications reveal confusion about what actually constituted whistleblowing. One message from September of 2022 asked, on what grounds does this person have for a whistleblower case? He didn't blow any whistle or bring to light any information. What are his grounds? Another reply stated simply, I have no idea. I have no information about any of that. The exchange continued with someone asking, where is the whistleblowing? Is there more out there that we don't know about? The document also shows hesitation about timing and what officials called optics. There were instructions to delay sending the revocation letter because the complainant was claiming whistleblower status. One message noted that leadership did not want the optics to be terrible. There was even a stand-down directive tied to concerns about how the action could be perceived. Now, the Inspector General ultimately rejected the reprisal allegations, but these internal communications document reveal uncertainty and communication gaps during the entire process. That seems a little strange, doesn't it? But what happens next in this case is something a lot of people don't know about. Despite the revocation, the complainant appealed the decision to the Personal Security Appeals Board. On January 9, 2023, they presented their case, and the next day, the board overturned the original determination and reinstated the security clearance. The report notes that the board voted unanimously to restore access. Officials estimated that appeals board overturned revocation about 1/3 of the time, and they stated there was nothing unusual about this particular case. Following the restoration, the complainant returned to work and supervisors attempted to reintegrate them into meaningful work. They were later formally debriefed on their security clearance status in March of 2023. Now, who is this complainant? The report doesn't name them, but the Black Vault points out the timeline and subject matter overlap significantly with publicly documented whistleblower filings associated with David Grusch. An unclassified procedural finding to the Intelligence Community Inspector General dated May 25, 2022 reflects a disclosure of urgent concern and complaint of reprisal signed under penalty of perjury by David C. Grusch. The same filing states that Grusch confidentially provided UAP-related classified information to the DoD Inspector General and describes alleged retaliation and numerous adverse security clearance actions. The Debrief reported back in 2023 that the Intelligence Community Inspector General found Grusch's complaint credible and urgent back in July of 2022. So what's notable here is that the Black Vault FOIA request didn't mention Grusch by name. It simply asked for all Inspector General complaints and reprisal investigations referencing whistleblowers who reported UAP-related programs or technologies from July of 2021 to present day. Only one case came up. Now, to be clear, while the report heavily redacts the complainant's identity, independent analysis by the Black Vault notes strong timelines and contextual matches to Grusch's publicly documented findings. Here's what I want to know from you. Does this report change how you view the whistleblower claims that we've heard over the past few years? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. I'm Cristina Gomez, and that is it for today. I will see you again tomorrow at 10 a.m. PST for another UFO news update. Be safe, and remember, keep your eyes on the skies. If you enjoyed today's show, hit that like button. And if you're not subscribed, what are you waiting for? Hit the notification bell as I do daily UFO news and updates. Fresh UAP stories, government disclosures, and breaking developments land here every single day.